Hi, everyone. It's Betty Ray again. I'm back with Raphael's story. We have his book here on another computer so I can read it to you. I left off last time talking about the Council of Elders. And just to review, you do have a group of wise old souls that work with you through the lifetime, help you plan it to begin with, so that you can tell your story on Earth's stage, and you are the leading lady or leading man of your story. You are center stage, the spotlight's on you. And so, right now, we're giving you more things that Raphael has to say about what life is really like with your soul and your spirit and your physical body all working together to help you tell a story. You are created by God, and this is what we want to bring across. So I'm going to be reading from Raphael's book, which will be out hopefully in a month or so. And so we kind of scooted over a little bit to show you our stained glass angel over to the right of our screen. And this was created quite a while back by an artist, not me. And it was to fill in a gap in my house in Michigan. And it turned out to be quite beautiful. And so I wanted to share it with you, as well as the beautiful picture behind me. And so I do have a lot of angels in my house, and many of them have been gifts from people who know that I love angels, and that's obvious. And so today we're going back to the book, and I will be looking over here at my other screen. And so it's kind of bright in here. Let's see if we can turn one light on. Does that work better? Yeah, that's not quite so bright on my face. Okay, so again, we're going to begin with where we left off. And the question that I put to Raphael, which is something that a lot of people have asked about, if there's good and evil, then there are angels and then there are devils. And that's because we as human beings have to give a picture, have a solid idea of what something looks like. So even though we can talk about spirit world, which doesn't have a physical body, which is vibrating energy, we still as human beings want to put on a garment that can go onto a human form. And so we are constantly showing angels, and other people are trying to show devils. So the question here is, what is evil, and are there really devils? Now, let me get this on here. Here we go. Raphael talks about the between world. And so he will describe what that means. Our different faiths have tried to teach us that there is a heaven. Some teach there's a purgatory, and some teach that there's hell. And Raphael says that there really isn't a hell, but there is a waiting place for people who get stuck in not being able to leave the earth plane. And that's what some people call purgatory, but they still see it as a kind of a purging of your physical errors rather than as Raphael describes it. So that's where we'll begin today. The between world. Raphael says, there are souls whose life experiences was steeped in the negative pole of your planet, expressed by lack of integrity and excess of greed and dishonesty that can lead to the taking of another's life for personal gain. When they die, they become stuck between your earth's vibration and the joyous vibration of what you call heaven. It is from this between world that these souls try to continue their life upon your planet by influencing souls of like mind to follow their desires and the aborted plans for their life. These dark entities have lost their connection with their soul that is pure and desiring to do the work of God's light and wisdom. This is why we again urge you to record your experiences and ask our guidance in helping you reap all the knowledge and wisdom you can from them. Know this, every experience becomes a fruit of wisdom for it is the way of your world. Do not judge yourself or others. And then I said, well, in the next chapter, Raphael will describe how each of us is uniquely and perfectly designed to be God's explorers within our physical world. So we're going to chapter 2. And in chapter 2, the question is, what is a soul? That's pretty basic. Raphael says, I begin with a question. I had to figure out my own handwriting here. Following your first description of who God is and who you are leads us to describe what a soul is and what it looks like. During each personal reading, Raphael shows me, Betty Ray, a visual of each soul as a brilliant sunbeam filled with what looks like 4th of July sparklers, all dancing in its own DNA pattern and emanating vibrant colors and celestial music. And Raphael says, indeed, souls are truly magnificent. Your soul is made up of a specific vibration of color, revealing its purpose and point of view. This vibration never changes. The soul's size can change with the accumulation of knowledge gained from your soul's physical experiences. And I said, I laughed when you told me this and thought, it's better to be a fat soul than a skinny one. And so a soul actually expands with new knowledge gained from each incarnation? And Raphael said, yes. A soul grows in size just as a human grows from a tiny baby to a full-grown adult. You may compare each incarnation of the soul to each birthday of a human. Does this mean we could have 100 lives? Is what I asked. And Raphael says, and more. Some souls love telling their stories on Earth's stage. Others cannot wait to be done with it. Your soul came forth from one of God's 7 rays to create with it while exploring physical worlds. We shall elaborate further on this later, but for now, let us speak of another part of you that is equally important, your spirit body. God placed a portion of your soul's vibrating energy within your physical being vehicle of expression. This is Raphael talking. You became God's eyes, ears, arms, and legs to explore in detail all of its creations within your planet. This portion of your soul's energy merged with your new physical being. We call it your spirit consciousness. And I said, and if people saw it, they would call it a ghost, right? And Raphael kind of nodded and said yes. And he said, some gifted people can see spirits who have passed and can communicate with them. You call them mediums. And I said, I loved the series Ghost Whisperer. This was on television. It showed a young woman who was able to see and speak with spirits who were stuck in Earth's dimension, the between world, as Raphael calls it. These ghosts tried to speak to their loved ones, but no one could see or hear them. Raphael said, your spirit receives divine thoughts and ideas and translates them into human experiences. It learns balance while it admits the push and pull between the dark energy of your planet with the light energy. In beginning lifetimes, the soul does not know how to connect with its spirit self, thus causing it to feel abandoned and alone. But as a soul advances in divine wisdom, it can more easily communicate with its spirit partner. Raphael says, we say again, God created your soul to be an explorer of physical worlds. The more knowledge you gain from each experience, the better you are at making decisions bearing fruit rather than disappointment. Begin with the knowledge that you, dear reader, are most likely to an experienced soul. Otherwise, you would not have chosen to read this book. God's rainbow of souls and its stages of development. This is the next part. So, when I'm asking, when you explained the development of a soul's conscience, it helped me understand why people do the terrible things they do. Then when you explained how beginner souls are like babies who are only interested in experiencing the physical pleasures of the body, well, it all began to make sense to me. Raphael says, anything that enters the physical world takes on solid form, vibrating to its own unique energy and radiating color and sound. Souls are pure spirit made up of vibrating energy, birthed through one of God's 7 energy rays that defines the soul's personality and perspective on life. They create a splendid display of lights upon your planet. I can picture that, can't you? He goes on to say, your soul sparkles with a brilliance never to be overcome by darkness. A soul's celestial song may be heard by advanced souls while in their human form. And I ask, are the tuning forks and crystal bowls and metal gongs people have created for healing anywhere close to the vibrational sound of souls? And Raphael said, oh, yes. This energy, as expressed in sound, is very healing for the physical body. And yet souls vibrate many, many octaves higher than the human body. You need to understand each soul's uniqueness. No two souls, even twins in human form, have different souls, which is why they can look alike but be so different. And I said, I know a woman whose twin is entirely different from her. You helped her understand that the twin had to be coaxed to return to Earth to overcome her addiction to alcohol. She would not return until the woman agreed to let her tag along as a twin. And yet the woman is addicted to alcohol once again. Raphael says, we will talk about addictions later, but this scenario is not uncommon. I said, you need to speak of a soul's purpose and point of view, as well as their developing maturity. This was the most revealing information you gave me that helped me have a greater patience and compassion for my fellow humans. Raphael said, to help further you understand the variety and expanse of a soul's perspective of life on your planet, we will begin with describing their frequency vibration by comparing the sound of the tuning fork's resonance. And then I ask, is there any connection to a soul's experiences to having experienced a variety of races? And if so, how does it influence a soul's particular experience of the life and their response to life? Raphael said, although that is a limited viewpoint, we can see how you would use it as an example of your soul's point of view. But we say unto you, each soul will choose to experience each race before it has completed its study of being a sentient being on your physical earth. Think about that. If you have any prejudices, maybe that's your next incarnation. Okay, I'm going on now. The racial influences, the reaction of other races to one another, and the prejudices and privileges that accompany those experiences are all part of the soul's study of being a human within your planet. So, I ask, those who are prejudiced against a specific race, will they return in that race in another lifetime? You see, I've already talked out of turn. And Raphael says, you are beginning to grasp why it takes so many lifetimes before a soul advances into non-judgment, compassion, and love for all humankind. I said, oh yeah, but then again, it makes it easier to identify those mature souls who hold no prejudices, who have a great deal of compassion for others, and who seem to always express inner peace. Raphael says, indeed, Ray, this is so. Advanced souls who have experienced a lifetime of racial discrimination against them will no longer express prejudice, but instead will defend the defenseless and fight for equality. So I said, so please, Raphael, give us a detailed description of each soul's vibration and color and how we can identify them. Maybe it will help us to be less judgmental. And so our next paragraph here is the development of soul personalities. And this is what we've learned. The red ray's soul's purpose is to develop leadership. It vibrates to your tuning fork sound of C, which resonates at 256 hertz. The red soul needs to be grounded in Earth's energy so as to focus on practical and earthly things. This soul's challenges are expressed through acts of courage and leadership. It desires to be in charge, and in the beginning lifetimes may become a tyrant, demanding loyalty or death. Or you're fired? Oh dear. A red soul's energy will vibrate in red throughout its entire existence. A soul never changes its vibrational color. Now, the orange ray soul vibrates to the tuning fork sound of D. It too is well grounded. God sends only a very few of these souls into the planet at one time. They are often tide changers of spiritual energy, bringing forth new perceptions of God. These souls often become a leader of souls rather than of armies. They come in with advanced knowledge and spiritual wisdom and hold a close connection to the Creator. They become bearers of a profound message to multitudes of souls, which may start a movement or a religion. They usually begin as an advanced soul and do not have to go through all the stages of soul growth. Since these souls enter the planet as an advanced soul, there are very few on the planet at any given time. Now, the yellow ray soul's energy vibrates to the frequency of the tuning fork E. It focuses on the mind and intellect, leading them toward research and study. These souls may become the architects, mathematicians, and scientists of the world. They have keen minds and can be considered geniuses. Some Oh, okay. I couldn't read what it was saying there, so forgive me for the pause. Some savants are yellow souls who delight in spouting facts that flabbergast others. Interesting, huh? Now, the green soul ray vibrates to the energy of F on the scale. It is a balance between the three slower vibrating energies of red, orange, and yellow, and the faster soul vibrations of blue, indigo, and violet. This soul seeks to be of service to others, to heal and to help in any way presented. The blue ray soul vibrates to G and radiates a light blue color. This soul is often multi-talented, expressing abstract ideas and many different creative roles, such as teacher, inspirational speaker, musician, actor, writer, and so forth. The indigo soul vibrates to the A tuning fork as the deep bluish purple of an indigo color. It is the vibration used for tuning an orchestra of 440 hertz. People with this soul energy are often labeled strange. They like being different. Because of their ability to think out of the box, these souls tend to imagine possible future scenarios and prepare for them or even seek to create them, thus making them inventors of unusual projects. The violet ray soul vibrates at the fastest frequency of all soul vibrations to the B tuning fork. And then he says in parentheses, please remember, faster, slower, higher, lower has no connotation as to good, better, or best. He goes on to say, these souls resonate with a violet or purple color. It is focused on otherworldly information, desiring to gain understanding of God and the afterlife. Now we're going on to chapter 3. And it says, why do people do terrible things to one another? And Raphael says, dear souls, we say unto you, it is because they do not know what they do. And it is because souls have growing pains. And so he goes on to say, souls are always coming and going within your planet in varying stages of soul development from a baby to an adult. Some come into the physical without having had any previous experience in exploring your world. Their spirits have a wide-eyed curiosity along with total ignorance of your rules, laws, and niceties as defined by more advanced souls who have set up those laws and regulations. New souls often discover those laws by breaking them and reaping the consequences. An overview of the soul's stages of growth. New souls may seem to be of lesser mental abilities, for their minds are a clean slate, and yet they could be a genius awakening to new ideas from God because there is no obstruction of preconceived ideas to block the communication with their Creator. Their abilities for problem solving may astound others. It is because they do not have past experiences of failure that close them off from our inspirations. Just as humans grow from infancy to toddlers, who put everything in their mouths and exploring their world, so does a soul's spirit consciousness when it first inhabits a sentient being as they begin their coursework in becoming co-creators with God. So we're going to talk about beginner souls now. Raphael says, in the beginning, the soul spirit is consumed with the need to learn how to maneuver in comfort within its new body containing a mind and emotions. Survival becomes the first and all-consuming thought. It will taste fear for the first time. Fear can lead to paranoia that can lead to extreme actions of self-protection. These new spirits have no conscience and will try anything and everything for its physical body's comfort, although they may have parents who try to teach them the consequences of actions. It is only through first-hand experience, through trial and error, that the beginner soul, with its newly formed spirit, can learn. Thus, beginner souls may commit many sins against their fellow humans. Beginner souls often have very short lives. Souls in the intermediate stage. After many lifetimes of exploring your planet, after many more births, deaths, and life reviews are added to the soul's book of physical adventures, the soul enters the next level of development that we shall call the intermediate stage. By this time, the soul will have gained experience in learning to express its needs more humanely and yet still selfishly. It has learned many methods of persuasion, but may still manipulate, coerce, and cheat others. It learns how to use language to negotiate, to barter, and trade, but still finds devious ways to reach its desired objectives. These young souls will seem to seek justice as they set up a selection of judges to rule the laws they will put into place, often to suit their own needs. Most souls on your planet right now are in this stage from the beginning of it, where they may still seem like newly minted souls up to the latter part of this stage, when finally these souls seem to accept the rules of sentient life. Now he's talking about souls in the advanced stage of growth. He says, after many, many more lifetimes, souls will have learned that it is better to give than to receive. They will become conscious that they are we rather than I. In the beginning of this stage, they will show compassion for all races, including the stranger and the thief. They will have an obsessive desire to find God and experience inner peace. They shed their desire to acquire the riches of your planet. Many of you who read this book are at this mature level of human development. You are well on your way to becoming an enlightened human being. Individual development of each soul's vibration is the next topic. And we begin with red souls. And Raphael says, beginner red souls are often tyrants, demanding you do things their way or it's off with your head. They demand loyalty and admiration. They can have temper tantrums, exacting punishment for disobedience or loyalty. Red souls often choose a masculine body with strength and muscles so as to have control over others. And yet, when the soul discovers they have a perfect body, they may use even more control of others to make up for it. Intermediate red souls, let me correct myself, have gained experience through many lifetimes of force versus power to understand that those things are two different things. They will still crave power and control over others, believing that is the only way to be in control, and may still use unethical means to obtain that power. Their conscience and ethics are still lacking. They make great con artists and may become involved in large mob-like organizations seeking to climb that type of corporate ladder. Now, an advanced red soul will, in the beginning stages of this part of their soul's development, have had enough lifetimes to learn the consequences of their actions, and yet past lives of defrauding people may pull at them. They remember it fondly. To be a corporal in an army leading his troops to victory still has fond memories. But when lifetimes of experience build, they will now choose to become a humanitarian and give back what they have learned. Many who were once considered evil leaders in the destruction of many will at this stage become a philanthropic leader who can benefit millions. With a raised consciousness, they become wise, benevolent leader. Orange souls now usually enter as advanced souls. They come as avatars and enlightened beings. There are only a very few on your planet at one time. You may recognize them by their wisdom and gentle disposition, showing love and compassion for all humanity. They are often known only to a few, as they do not seek public approval. Yellow souls now. Beginning yellow souls love to tinker and play with ideas and never want to grow up. They will invent just for the fun of it. They may invent some wonderful new machines that they will simply let sit in their garage, for they do not see value in it. Others may seek to exploit their innocence. Many yellow souls are child geniuses with an amazing knowledge of mathematics or science or the arts. They often become exploited by others for their abilities. Intermediate yellow souls seek to discover a miracle drug or some invention so as to gain fame and fortune for their efforts. They are not above using other people's ideas and claiming them as their own. An inner sense of right versus wrong has not developed enough for them to show anything other than their own selfish needs. While yellow souls are often centered on their intellect, their emotions can range from childlike temper tantrums to wise old souls. They can be very forceful in gaining their way in expressing life. Advanced yellow souls may work tirelessly to create a cure for some disease or an invention for an advancement of the greater good. Yet one can be an advanced yellow soul and not give away all that he or she has discovered, but may demand an equal share in the advancement of the work to share with the world. Parents are often required with credits given. Not parents. Patents are often required with credits given. Okay, we'll get this straight. On to green souls. Beginner green souls often find themselves becoming slaves to others who learn to expect their help without regard for the needs of this soul. And so a self-sacrificing expectation can become their catch-22. Souls in this energy may seek jobs as healers, clerks, secretaries, or administrative assistants. Because this soul's energy is among the majority of souls, along with the red soul energy upon your planet, they do tend to balance one another. Green souls always make good partners within personal or work relationships because they will seek the greatest good for all concerned, even if they are the newest of green souls. Intermediate green souls may often become the slave of another's obsessions. They still seek to find a mate who will take care of them, love them unconditionally, and make them happy. They are too often disappointed in love as they become a slave in their expectation to fill the needs of a partner. Green souls often take on female bodies because of their desire to serve and may seek roles as nurses, social workers, doctors, therapists, sales clerks, bookkeepers, nannies, or waiters. They will seek any profession where they can help others. Green soul men are now entering those professions as they seek to find a role that will benefit humanity. We often find many green souls among the male LGBTQ communities, as they are raising the consciousness of the world and showing it is okay to be a male showing compassion for others, to take on women's roles and do them well. This movement is bringing balance among the sexes, and contrary to the conflicting beliefs of others, has brought much good to your world. Advanced souls of the Green Ray dedicate their lives to helping others by selecting professions within the medical world, or in counseling, or in being of service in any way. They often become leaders in the movement for equal rights, for defending the innocent, for bringing forth new laws that will stop exploitation of others, of helping children or the homeless, or any form of injustice within their world. Blue souls now. A beginner blue soul may seem very childlike and innocent, expressing itself in the arts with an unusual gift. It creates for the joy of creating, not for fame or fortune. They can be exploited by others. It does not matter to this childlike soul. They will often express humor and tolerance beyond the understanding of their elders. And yet, this beginner soul will see life simply as good or evil. They can be quite paranoid once they discover evil, and as they grow into adults, will seek to express themselves as leaders of truth according to a set of rules they choose to follow. Intermediate blue souls will thrive on an audience, living for the applause. They will seek diligently to improve their gifts so as to be better at their trade as artists, actors, screenwriters, etc. They often live a drama-filled life with many interpersonal relationships that disrupt and upset their concept of a good life. They may feel misunderstood and abused every which way. They can become very verbal in expressing their displeasures through the written word or even from the pulpit. They may rewrite the Bible according to their inspired interpretation and have many followers of their newly created religion. Advanced blue souls begin to seek more than the applause. They question the purpose of life and often become involved in seeking those who are of advanced spiritual knowledge. They may choose to study all religions just to understand their fellow humans' perspective. They become tolerant of all points of view. They are often spiritually motivated in all their endeavors. But they do not seek fame or fortune, only new knowledge. They may be a leader of small study groups who also seek advanced spiritual knowledge. As their creative energies expand, they often show great talent beyond what they had previously displayed. They will want to share their new knowledge in written form or even in creating workshops to teach others their hard-earned wisdom. Now, indigo souls, a beginning indigo soul may feel overwhelmed with the push and pull of creating versus stagnation and self-doubt. It will work on new ideas in bursts and stops. It will display great wisdom intuitively and will want to rescue the world from itself. They can become seers or psychics who work for a profit, even defrauding people, using scare tactics like removing a bad spirit for a fee. They can be so-called friends who are busybodies who want to help you with their superior knowledge and wisdom. They want you to follow their visions and can be forceful in their endeavor to influence others to their way of thinking. An intermediate indigo soul may still feel overwhelmed with the confusion of its purpose in life. It may seek many occupations to discover its place in the world. It is constantly filled with new ideas, but does not feel adequate to bring forth into reality. Much beauty and creativity come from this stage. They often are leaders in the field of education or in the corporate world because of their ability to accurately project future possibilities. But again, in this stage, their motives may not always be for the greater good. Now, an advanced indigo soul will likely find its niche early in life and simply expand upon it. It will tend toward the arts and bring forth many creative ideas that it shares with others without needing credit for it. They avoid all labels and instead live quiet lives that still attract others to seek their guidance and wisdom. These indigo souls do not seek fame or financial rewards. They will always be helping in raising consciousness. The indigo soul is often unique in their personal appearance, enjoying bold colors and designs or hairstyles. They can be fluid and open-minded in their problem solving. They often have several projects going at one time. Now, violet souls. A beginner violet souls may see spirits and react in fear rather than acceptance or trust. Many may demonstrate extrasensory perception. As with any beginner soul, they tend toward more fear and anxiety than trust and love. Beginner violet souls focus on other worlds. They seem to be dreamers and visionaries. They are often quite psychic. In the middle stages, the violet soul may want to be an evangelist to save people from their projected vision of a colorful, fiery hell. They will display the motivation of desiring fame and fortune, which lead them down a path of destruction when they put money and power before God. The souls of this ray will eventually display confusion about what they believe and begin to question everything. Toward the end of this stage, these souls may give up all belief systems, claiming they no longer hold strong beliefs or dogma and may claim to be agnostics or even atheists. This conclusion is, of course, not limited to violet souls. Many who question their beliefs may swing the pendulum toward disbelief in an afterlife or God before some profound experience swings them back so quickly they may feel the whiplash. Near-death experiences are the wake-up call when the person actually goes to the next dimension and sees for themselves what glory awaits them after death. Advanced souls of this perspective become filled with tolerance, compassion, love for their fellow humans. They do not condemn or judge, but stress God's unconditional love for all peoples and their desire to bring God's presence to others. They seem to glow from the inside out. They are always smiling, finding good in everything, and seem to exude a joy of living and appreciation for the gift of life. Now I come in and say, the above gives me a brief and yet complex understanding of why God created reincarnation. Many view this concept of many lives with raised eyebrows, either because it goes against their religious beliefs or because they cannot conceive of enduring another life like what they are presently experiencing. Raphael says we would offer a different perspective of reincarnation. Imagine you are a famous author of hundreds of books that are all bestsellers. You love writing stories. Would it not be a thrill if all your stories were immediately turned into a movie where you are the director, the producer, and the leading actor? Would it not be a thrill to have your movie win an Oscar? This is your soul, the author of each lifetime story. This negates the belief that souls do not wish to return to sentient life. They love writing stories to act out on Earth's stage. There is a waiting list of souls wanting to tell their stories. Because your soul does not experience emotions as you do as its human partner, it can throw in all kinds of emotional challenges and observe how you, the leading character, responds with the thick energy of the physical dimension. This then allows your soul to alter the story, to always make you the hero, heroine who overcomes all difficulties. For a sentient being's perspective, you may not wish to return to Earth when your life has been a challenge. It is not so with your soul. As soon as the lifetime is over, and after your spirit has completed its life review and gone on to its experience of heaven, the soul returns home and discusses its story with its soulmates. And I said, soulmates? And Ravi says, ah, yes, soulmates. We do not speak of lovers here. We hear your questions, and we will speak of love relationships later. And he says, we speak of your soul group as your soul friends who are of the same vibrational color and stage of development as you are. Your classmates have come together throughout many lifetimes and enjoy trading stories. You have a mentor, sometimes someone from your council, which you all share. It helps you gain as much knowledge from each life experience as possible. There is much serious discussion as well as delightful laughter during these sessions. Your soul is fully detached from the emotional element of your life and can speak freely of the life experience as if it were a story on a movie screen. In fact, your guide can call up specific scenes at will, and for all of your lives are recorded in the Book of Life, which is stored in the Hall of Knowledge in yet another dimension. For now, we speak of your soul who studies and learns with other souls of equal development and vibrational energy. Your soul's perspective is vastly different from your viewpoint as a sentient being. Remember, your spirit body is specifically designed to be an exact duplicate of your physical body. It holds the consciousness of your soul, but is separate from it. Your spirit continues to exist after death as it ascends into the world of spirit, where it gathers more information for your soul, who is constantly in contact with it. After your soul has garnered all it can from your spirit's voyage into the spirit dimension, it will merge with your soul, just as a human will merge a memory of a specific adventure within its beingness. Your unique character played by your spirit can be recalled as an exact memory of your life. When a medium calls forth a spirit, the soul releases information in its fullness, not as a memory, but as an exact replay of that life. The soul has total recall of every moment of every life experience. It is like an actor who, once he has learned his script, can step into the part at any given time. Souls who first incarnate upon your planet begin like a human infant with no knowledge of the rules of life within a physical body. Their main purpose is survival. They seek only comfort within their new body. Before they came, they were made up of spirit energy, free to move with only a thought. Now they have a physical body made up of 95% sloshing of water, sloshing around in a magnetically grounded and extremely heavy bodysuit. With each lifetime, the soul also endures the slow process of the physical body's growing pains from infant to adult. It learns to walk all over again by standing and falling many times. It learns to speak a new language, while at the same time learning to control its bodily functions, as well as adjust to a new environment of heat or cold, or of safety or danger. The returning soul has to learn to adjust to new parents and perhaps siblings, all who are usually souls from a previous lifetime. You may be balancing a previous life experience of abundance by experiencing poverty, or vice versa. Your soul sorts out new beliefs from new teachers. It puzzles to discern what is true and what is false, what is real and what is imagined. It acquires an understanding of the new rules of the present environment. More importantly, your soul must learn to communicate to its human partner its plans for the life. That alone can be quite a task. Often beginner souls find their human is like a runaway horse with a bit in its teeth. All communication is lost. The soul just goes along for the ride, watching its carefully laid plans blowing in the wind. This is what gives your soul growing pains. Sometimes, when the soul has a breakthrough, you may call it deja vu. You may feel you have done this before, been there before. The soul, like the human, uses trial and error, success and failure in this connection, getting better and better with each lifetime, advancing from an infant soul's perspective in the beginning life experiences to the wisdom of an adult soul, where there is a joyous connection between soul and sentient being. We stress how we are speaking of a soul's understanding and wisdom regarding sentient life on their planet. Therefore, it is your soul's growing pains within each lifetime that advances it from one level to another. This can take many, many lifetimes. When the soul never changes its vibration, while the soul never changes its vibrational energy or color, the accumulation of information and wisdom gathered from each lifetime's experiences does change the soul's size from a small beam of light to a large column of divine energy swelling with experience and divine love. Although it is certain that your planet will survive, some believe it may be too late for your species to do so. They reason that it would not be the first group of sentient beings who became extinct. Although the premise is true, we do not agree with the conclusion. Your species will survive its present challenges and become a super race. Not of one color, but of an entire mixture of blends that will allow it to gain the wisdom to use their energy only for the good of all and not for the few. We agree that this could take perhaps 50 to 100 years. Many councils have deemed it necessary for those infant and baby souls who have been a destructive influence on humanity to be barred from returning to your planet to complete their incarnational cycle. After they complete their present life on Earth's stage, they will continue on another planet that has been prepared for them. Indeed, it is now inhabited. Your scientists have recently discovered it. We welcome you to expand your consciousness and encourage you to know that beyond your limited viewpoint, there are other worlds in your universe that are inhabited with various forms of sentient and soul beings. God is not limited to its creative powers. Many in the spiritual dimension are working with previous groups of souls who have brought enlightenment to your planet. We speak of those developed humans such as the Incas and early Native Americans who helped humankind to become aware of life beyond the physical and have left clues of how to save your species. New medicines come from old cures. The one called the Sleeping Prophet brought forth many old recipes for healing. Edgar Cayce was a simple man who could lie down and go to sleep and leave his body so as to allow another advanced soul to enter his physical form and give healing information. His readings have been documented in the Edgar Cayce Institute in Virginia Beach. Many more enlightened souls have incarnated at this time of the planet's great need. There are reaching thousands of people with new ideas that open the mind to metaphysical facts and truths. And still, only souls mature enough to be open to these new ideas will be able to receive them. We remind you, all ideas, thoughts, and visions resonate from the divine energy, God. God has also sent angelic beings to incarnate within the human form. They do not go through the cycle of incarnations, but incarnate as advanced souls. They may seem ethereal and otherworldly, exhibiting great light, peace, and joy. Usually, they do not have many followers, but will train a few to go out and become inspirational speakers and leaders of advanced thinking. You can find many of them on your television program called TED Talks. We encourage you to open your minds and hearts and souls to explore new ideas, to discover those who think out of the box, those who bring forth new challenges to the norm. These are the new way showers. They are the true wave or second coming of Christed beings. Know this, there are never any failures in God's eyes. The art of free will is the art of experimentation. It requires the use of the human mind to try something new when the first idea did not work. While within the physical, you must obey the physical laws of your world, such as time, space, and gravity. An idea does not materialize instantly. Ideas build upon ideas until a physical reality takes shape. Your Thomas Edison had hundreds of so-called failures before creating the light bulb. He did not see them as failures. He saw them as experimentations that led to success. All artists, inventors, and creative thinkers know how to use their minds to go into the light trance state where they can receive ideas from those in the higher realms. We will discuss this later in the book, says Raphael. And he goes on. There are souls who have passed into the next realm who cooperate with such people who have learned to be open to new ideas. A skeptic cannot receive them without a great deal of doubt, research, and study. A cynic cannot even begin to be open to them. This also reflects the soul's stage of development within physical worlds. It is all right to be skeptical and to fact check what is claimed to be a fact. Humans often confuse emotional opinions as facts. A fact is a documentation of an idea through research by creating an abstract idea to prove consistency in results. Only then is it considered a fact. By keeping a journal of your beliefs, you can prove a feeling or an emotional reaction, such as anger, to be triggered by certain actions of others or certain physical events to be a fact. But esoteric knowledge brought forth from ancient wisdom often cannot be turned into provable facts. We say unto you, dear readers, it is your deep meditation or light sleep state when God sends messengers who, in their glorified bodies, can telepathically project ideas to those still in physical bodies. We mean to say that those who have passed and have learned to communicate with the living will bring forth new ideas and new truths, of course, depending upon that soul's wisdom at the time. Therefore, it behooves you not to accept the whispering of another who has passed what they deemed as divine truth. It is only their truth as the development of that soul's knowledge deems wisdom. Be diligent in what is given by an entity who has passed and now comes forth to speak truth from the beyond. Only discernment can bring to you truth and wisdom as a projection of God's infinite knowledge, like a seed ready for watering that becomes a beautiful creation in your world. Everyone and everything that exists in any physical or non physical world is an expression of God. Only you label as good, bad, or neutral. There is a divine plan set forth for each soul's life, and your counsel closely watches your every thought, word, and deed. They continually inspire, uplift, and encourage you towards success. God experiences your every breath, for it is your life breath and vitality. You breathe in God's essence continuously, and it continues to help you to expand and change and grow. We cannot say this often enough. You and God are one. We know this concept of oneness is difficult for an earthbound being, but know it is so. Otherwise, we would not say it is. Your scientists can testify that everything is made up of energy. We say again and again, God is the divine energy by which everything and everyone exists. Perhaps this information on soul development will help you understand why mature and advanced souls working on your planet now can be the inspiration in saving your planet. Be assured that the raising of consciousness is already happening. You have seen it in your women's movement to bring equality to the sexes. You have seen it in the transparency in your physical scenes. You have seen it in the protest stations all around the world of people uplifting or uniting for freedom of thought, freedom of government, and freedom to earn in wages to live a comfortable life. And yet, this freedom can be misunderstood in those who demand their rights to choose to ignore the warnings regarding the coronavirus that is presently rampaging through your planet. The prevention of the spread of the disease is not a choice, but a sign of wisdom and compassion for others. Those who do not choose to wear masks are showing their soul's immaturity. Without greed for power and financial rewards, many solutions to problems will be discovered and promoted by the greater number of people who have come to realize not only the importance for a cleaner environment, but also an uplifting of consciousness for saving your species. Enlightenment will diminish the corruption caused by a few ruled by the people rather than a powerful few. Indeed, we repeat, it is not too late for the survival of your species or for the healing of your planet. The seeds planted long ago are now sprouting with wiser and more humane leadership. Your world is changing for the better. It is in your hands now as to how quickly this will manifest. Use your light as a voice for your planet. Do not hide your light under that biblical bushel basket. Know that the prophets of old spoke to a generation yet to come, and their wisdom still holds divine truth. This does not mean to find a soapbox and preach to others what they must do. Each soul will find its winding path to God. Rather, it means for you to become God's lamplighter by simply exhibiting integrity, compassion, kindness, humor, generosity, and joy within your physical world. This will automatically inspire and spread to others. Indeed, all of humanity is reaping what it has sown. Humans are presently experiencing the consequences of their experiments of stealing power from the masses to use for their own selfish interests. There is a new wave of positive energy that is raising human consciousness through concern for your planet now suffering from global warming. We predict that many will speak up to bring a new kind of peace that will strive to give power back to governments working for the benefit of all peoples, not just a few who seek wealth at the expense of the poor. Be of good heart. We say unto you, this is now happening. We predicted this several years ago, suggesting it would become apparent when there was transparency within your world, as is now available through your visual media. Fact checking was created when lies were presented as truth. Although distrust can be the first wave, it is the motivator to begin practicing discernment and responsibility for actions based on those facts, not on an emotional desire for what is not true, to be true. And with that, we will end today's session. It's been a rather long one, but we felt that it really was important that we carry through the thoughts rather than break it up. And so we will leave you for this day, and we will talk to you again on chapter 4, which will be about your physical body. And so until then, God be with you. Stay well, wear those masks, and be at peace. And we will see you again soon.